The team of military attorneys assigned to advise Major Nidal Hasan told the judge in a murder trial today that they think he's tanking his defense to get the death penalty. And those attorneys told the judge that if Hasan is determined to be a martyr, they don't want to be a part of it. Fox 4's Brandon Todd reports from Fort Hood.
Major Nidal Hasan's desire to represent himself in his own capital murder trial has always been on the condition that his standby attorneys would step in and help in matters of court procedures. But today, Hasan's defense attorneys filed a motion telling the judge they want to further limit their involvement with Hasan. They had concerns after the way Hasan handled jury selection, but when Hasan got into his opening statement yesterday, flat out admitting that he was the shooter who killed 12 Fort Hood soldiers and 1 civilian in 2009, defense attorneys said they believed Hasan was deliberately trying to steer his own defense toward getting the death penalty. And that, they told the judge, goes against their moral obligation as defense attorneys. But Major Hasan made clear in court he disagreed with the defense team's opinion that he is trying to get the death penalty. And when he tried to explain his position, the judge silenced him and dismissed the court, meeting instead privately with both sides. His standby counsel says they will actively help their client if he wants to save his life. But again, they want a reduced role if he doesn't. The paralyzed and wheelchair-bound officer is imprisoned at nearby Bell County Jail when not in court. From the jail, he's flown to the high-security post courthouse by military helicopter each day. Hasan cross-examined just 2 of the witnesses on the first day of trial and delivered an opening statement that barely lasted a minute and was more like a confession. Brandon Todd, Fox 4 News.
All right, Grant Seabolt here is a retired Marine Corps colonel. He served as a judge advocate on both sides of the aisle for more than 30 years, so he's been in courtrooms like this. What do you make? Today's news was that this advisory/defense team said, we want out. We think this guy's tanking it. He wants a death sentence, and we want out. What do you make of all that?
Well, I think that you have to understand their role. First off, their role is simply an advisory group. They're not really advocates for him as such. He's decided to advocate his own cause. And so they are only there to consult him. The best I can read between the lines is that these gentlemen have said to themselves that we're not able to assist him because the things that he wants to do are basically not proceed in the trial in an orderly manner and actually try to expedite a finding of not only guilty but a finding of a death penalty for himself. And I think they've determined that there's really nothing that they can logistically or legally do, in effect, to advance a normal representation of him. Therefore, they're really not needed.
And so half of that, or part of it, or a big portion of it, is it, why are we here, kind of a thing. We're not being used, why are we here? But is there some also, this guy wants the death penalty, and we don't want to be perceived as advising him toward getting that in any way. You think there's some of that, too? For their reputations, I guess?
Well, I don't know what's in their minds personally at the end of the day. You know, whether that it might be of their concern, that we be part of that process, don't know.
Got it. What do you make of how he is behaving in court? There was a lot of pretrial concern that he was going to make statements, have outbursts, and in fact, he hasn't really cross-examined many of the witnesses. He could have done some really belabored cross, I guess. What do you think of what he's doing?
Well, I think to some extent everybody's surprised that there hasn't been like histrionics or on his part or making statements and communications in effect to the world on his part. I think that maybe in his mind, you know, he just wants to get the thing over with. You know, he's already decided internally that he wants to proceed to the end result, and so why should he delay things?
And that's a question we get. What the heck, why are we even doing this? This is a waste of time. He's admitted it. Let's just bring the hammer down and get on with it, what he wants. Why not do that?
Well, sometime after the Civil War, we did away with summary executions.
Okay.
All right? And no matter how bad you are or how notorious and nefarious you are, you're still entitled to be tried and a determination made of your guilt and an appropriate sentence assessed. So why are we going through this? Because that's what we do. It's part of the judicial process under the Uniform Code of Military Justice that we're all required to follow.
You did a lot of your work in a Marine court, and you did say one thing that's different. that man would be clean-shaven in your courtroom.
That would have happened a long time ago, but I think the brig guards would have already taken care of that before somebody said, called all the ACLU lawyers or whatever they did to do to stop that. But I think he would have been clean-shaven early in the process.
So let's talk about this ruling the judge has to make. What do you anticipate happening? Whether, she will, I guess, dismiss these attorneys, or, I mean, what happens in something like this?
Well, I think what will probably happen is that she'll listen to their emotion, she'll consider their arguments, and in an abundance of caution, will say, good try, but have a seat. You're here for the duration. You're getting your pay and allowances no matter what, so this is your duty today.
We talked earlier, and you said you think the prosecution has plenty of evidence. He's admitted it. There's not really a lot to go on. No need to go on, but you said you think they want maybe all the victims to have their day, their say, a witness for every victim maybe, so their voice will be heard.
I think that's an accurate observation. I mean, they could have come in there and tried 4 or 5 cases only and had plenty in order to have a conviction and a result they want. But on the other hand, to some extent, it is honoring each and every victim and their family to actually have their particular crime heard in court and see that an adjudication of guilt is had, and also an imposition of punishment for their loved one.
Got it. Let's take it to the end process. If he does get the death penalty, you said there hasn't been a military execution since 1961, which oddly enough was for, not really oddly, but it was for a rape. You don't see a lot of executions nowadays in criminal courts for a rape. It was for a rape, and they'll probably have to start talking about how to carry one of these out, right?
That's correct.
How do they carry it out in a military court?
Well, the last time that they tried to decide how they're going to do it was going to be by the gas chamber. But they don't even have one, as far as I know right now, at Fort Leavenworth. They'd have to go to a federal facility. I know back in the 80s when I was on a court of military review that we actually had to go scurry around and look at old manuals and things to find things like a field expedient manual for conducting a gallows in the field, things of that nature, how to organize a firing squad, all these kind of things, because nobody had executed anybody, for years and years before that.
All right, as we wrap this up, Colonel, I want to answer a viewer's voice question. We get a lot of this. They say we're insulting military folks when we call him Major Nadal Hassan, that we shouldn't call him by his rank. Answer that for us. What should we be doing? Is that what we should be doing for now anyway?
Until such time as he is found guilty and his rank and privileges are taken from him, whether he likes it or not, and whether the public likes it or not, his first name is Major and his middle name is Nadal right now.
All right. Thanks, Grant Siebold. Colonel.
Thank you. Marine
Corps, thank you very much. Stay with Fox 4 for up-to-the-minute developments on Fort Hood, the massacre trial, in between newscasts. Go to myfoxdfw.com. Follow Fox 4's Dan Godwin and Brandon Todd. They're both tweeting from the trial.